Today we're going to solve radical equations, second day of 2.1, and also in 2.1 previously we went over power functions, and it just is anything of this form where you have some power. The reason why we're putting this in the same section in the book, or why they put it in the same section, is because we could have a fractional exponent, which a fractional exponent is a radical. So we're going to solve radical equations, and I guess that's why they put them together. Let's go to the next page. So our strategy will be to isolate the radical and then square both sides. Let's add 2 to both sides. And then we'll square both sides. When you square the radical, they are canceled, and they cancel each other, and over here we're going to get 4x squared plus 4x plus 4. That's an 8, not a 4. Okay, and let's review what's happening there. When you multiply a binomial, or when you square a binomial, you could do it like this. 2 times 2, 2x times 2, 2 times 2, and we add these so we get 8x, and that's how we get the 8x. Alright, now we have a quadratic, so we'll just get everything to one side. 8x plus 12x, move the 12x over, minus 100, alright, we could use the quadratic formula, or we could factor. Let's go ahead and factor. We can divide everything by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4, and divide by 4. And when we factor that, and remember that when we factor, one way to organize it is put the negative 24 and then 5. And we want to find numbers that multiply to get that and add to get that. Alright, so there are 2 possible solutions, but we have to check to see if they both are solutions, because it's possible to have extraneous solutions. So we have to take the original equation and put a negative 8 in it, and then put a 3 in it. Here's the original equation. Alright, and then we'll check. So let's put negative 8 in there. And we'll also put 3 in. So right away we see that's positive. Minus 2 is still positive, and that's not going to equal a negative. So we say negative 8 is not a solution. And over here, so we say that 3 is a solution. Pause it and try that one on your own. We want to isolate the radical and then square. There'll be a negative 6 times 2, negative 12. Sorry, negative 9. Negative 9 times 2, 18. We're going to add 18 and also add 18 here. Subtract 18x and add 18 there. Minus 18. Here we're going to add 18. And let's divide everything by 9. Factor. Multiplies to get 3. Adds to get negative 4, so we just make them both negative. 1, 3. Check. Check 1. And check 3. (18 minus 18). 3 equals 3. And this ends up being, let's do 18 times 3 minus 1, or 18 times 2. That's a 2 times 18 is 36. 6 plus 3 is 9. So we say both 1 and 3 are solutions. Okay, if we had a different root, we'll still follow the same strategy. Subtract 14. And now we have a cube root. So we'll cube both sides. And instead of getting a big number here, why don't we just do it like this? And we're going to do, leave it like that, and then square root. So you could have just done this on the calculator, gotten a big number. Down here we're going to do the square root to cancel the 2. We don't want the 2 there. We didn't want the cube root, so we did the inverse of that. We don't want the square, so we do the inverse of squaring. We're trying to get x by itself, so this cancels the 2. And then here we see a pair of 36s, they can come out. And then square root of 36 is 6. And that's going to be 216. Add 5. And we'll still check. $221 minus 5 squared plus 14 equals 50. That ends up being 36 plus 14 equals 50. 50 equals 50. So we say 221 is a solution. All right, try that one. Pause and try that one. We have minus 3. We have to cancel the cubed root. Minus 8. And divide by 4. And we end up with 64 equals 60. We have to evaluate that side, ends up equaling 7, so it's a solution. X equals 14 is a solution. All right, and now we have a little different strategy required because we have 2 radicals. And when we do this, we don't want to square with both radicals on the same side. So let's move one over, and then we're going to square. Subtract this radical from both sides, and we get this. Now we can square both sides. And when we square this, we're going to square the 5. We're going to go 5 times the radical. Radical times 5, we're going to end up with negative 10 radical 15 minus x. And then when we square that, we'll get 15 minus x. So if you want to look at how do we do that, you could have boxes like this. So we're going to go 5 minus the radical, 5 minus the radical, 5 times 5. We're going to go 5 times the radical. We're going to go 5 times the radical. And then radical times radical Negative times negative is positive. Radical times radical cancels, and we just get 15 minus x. So these add to get negative 10. 25 is there. Then we just have to do, we have to get this by itself and square this. So we're at 25 plus 15, 40. And then we're going to minus 40 and add x. So we should end up with 2x minus 42 Alright, then we'll square, because we don't want the radical, so we're going to do the inverse of square root. We're going to square the negative 10, we get 100, and then square the radical, and it goes away. Alright, now we have to put everything on one side and solve a quadratic. So we're going to subtract 1500, and that'll give us 264 here. We're going to add 100 to that, and we get negative 68. And everything can be divided by 4, so we'll do that. And we're going to multiply to get 66 and add to get negative 17. So that'll be 11 and 6. And they both need to be negative so that they add to get negative 17. So x equals 6, x equals 11. And let's check in the original equation. 6 minus 2. 15 minus 6. Does that equal 5? And then over here we're going to go 11 minus 2 and 15 minus 11. Does that equal 5? 6 minus 2 is 4. Square root of 4. 15 minus 6 is 9. Square root of 9. So that means that 6 is a solution. Over here, 11 minus 2, 9. Square root 3. 15 minus 11, 4. Square root is 2. And that means that 11 is a solution. Last example. All right, try that one. Pause the video and try that on your own. And here we go. We want to. The radicals are already on opposite sides, so we can just start by squaring. And if we square that, and we get 9. We're going to go 3 times the radical. Radical times 3, so we get 2 of those. That's going to be 6. We square the radical. And now we want to get the radical by itself. 9 plus 2 and we're going to go minus 11. That'll give us negative 4 plus x and we don't, now we're going to square. So it could be a negative 8 plus negative 8, negative 16, negative 4 times negative 4, 36 times 2 minus x. All right. $72 minus 36x plus 36, and that will give us 20 minus 72, and we'll get negative 56. And everything is divisible by 4. Then we factor, and negative 7 and 2, and we check negative 7. We're going to have negative 7 plus 7 equals, does it equal 2 minus negative 7? 0, and on this side 6. So we say negative 7 is not a solution. Check 2. 2 plus 7. Is that equal to 3 plus 2 minus 7? 9 square root. And this is 4. Okay. This should be a 2 right there. 2 plus 7. 2 minus 2, 0. 3 equals 3. So we say 2 is a solution. And that's it.